I've got a topic that feels almost inevitable in our tech-obsessed world. The day your car starts to feel less like a long-term machine and more like a subscription service with wheels. Today we are diving into Nissan Leaf owners' frustration over the sudden shutdown of the NissanConnect EV app, and what it means for the future of connected cars. Picture this: you've got a relatively modern electric car, you've gotten used to warming it up on a frosty morning from your phone, you've relied on remote charging so you don't burn extra electricity during peak hours, and suddenly, boom, the app stops working. From March 30th, the NissanConnect EV app that powered remote charging, climate control, and some map features for Leaf models built before May 2019 and the E&V 200 van will cease operation. The car still runs, the heater might still work from inside, but all that convenience you counted on goes dark, at least remotely. Personally, I think this hits a nerve about how we trust our cars to stay useful over time. What makes this really interesting is not just the outage itself, but what it reveals about the economics and psychology of software-driven hardware. When a device relies on cloud services or constant software updates, its value isn't just what you bought, it's what you can access in the future. If a feature you've come to depend on can be pulled offline with a single policy decision, that's not just an inconvenience, it changes the life cycle of the product in real time. Let me unpack this from a few angles. First, the core idea here: connectivity ages faster than the physical car. The Leaf works mechanically for many years, but the software layer, the app, the remote services, the map features, has a much shorter expected lifespan because it depends on servers, app ecosystems, and ongoing support. In my opinion, this creates a built-in tension. You want a durable car, but you also want the latest conveniences that software can unlock. The problem is that the longer the car ages, the more you depend on software that may not be financially viable for the manufacturer to maintain. If you take a step back and think about it, you see a broader trend. As products become software-defined, you're effectively renting access to features, not owning permanent capabilities. Second, the consequence of the shutdown isn't just reduced convenience, it's potential safety and cost implications. If a driver can't remotely preheat the cabin on a frosty morning, you're compromising comfort and potentially battery efficiency. In some markets, you'd expect that climate control could be useful for preserving battery health or optimizing charging windows. What this really suggests is a creeping dependence on a backend that might sunset at any moment. From my perspective, that undermines the long-term value proposition of owning a car, especially when you've paid a premium for the tech features. Third, the commentary around this centers on subscriptionization of car features. The article notes that the broader SaaS model, think Adobe or modern games, has moved toward ongoing payments for ongoing access. The twist with cars is that the baseline product is expensive and physically durable. The friction here is, do people want to pay forever for what they once paid upfront to own? One thing that immediately stands out is how people react emotionally to losing control of a tool they believed would last a long time. It's not just about money, it's about trust and the perception of ownership. From a broader perspective, we are looking at a coming era where software support windows become a de facto component of car design. Auto experts like Steve Walker warn that this is a preview of what happens to many vehicles as they age. Their digital lifelines fade first. If today's cars are more dependent on connected services than ever, the risk isn't just obsolescence, it's that features like navigation, heated seats, or even basic update pathways could be retired behind a subscription wall or discontinued altogether. This isn't just a Nissan issue, it's a test case for the industry's approach to longevity and sustainability. The environmental angle is also worth noting. If a car is no longer functionally as good as new because a chunk of its software is dead, you're effectively wasting resources that already went into manufacturing, shipping, and maintaining a vehicle. The argument for durability and repairability becomes stronger the more we rely on software. Practically, that means better life cycle planning, longer support timelines, more modular software, and hardware that can gracefully adapt to new standards without needing a full sunset of core experiences. In terms of what automakers might do, I'd expect a few paths to emerge. First, a push toward explicit, long-term software support commitments, 10 years or more for critical features, with a clear roadmap. Second, greater collaboration with third-party ecosystems so that critical functions don't live solely on a single vendor's cloud. And third, a rethinking of ownership. Perhaps permanent access to core features should be legally framed as a property right, not something contingent on ongoing payments. What this really underscores is a deeper question about the future of mobility. Can we design software-driven cars that stay useful and valuable for a decade or more, or will we keep playing catch-up as features sunset behind new monetization models? The tension between convenience and durability is not going away. If we demand longer-lasting hardware with sustainable software support, manufacturers will have to recalibrate their business models to align incentives with user trust and environmental responsibility. So, where does that leave Leaf owners today? They have a perfectly usable car mechanically, but a chunk of its connective magic is gone. My take is this: it's a wake-up call for everyone watching the shift to software-defined vehicles. If we want cars to truly last, we need to demand durable software, transparent sunset policies, and maintenance pathways that outlive a typical subscription cycle. And for buyers, consider how you value that software layer when you're weighing a purchase. Will you still feel confident in a car whose best features live behind a moving wall of service fees? If you found this angle helpful, drop a comment with your experience or a feature you'd refuse to live without. Do you think manufacturers should guarantee long-term access to remote features, or is this just the cost of progress in a software-first world? And if you could design the future of car software longevity, what would your rules be? Personally, I think we deserve both great hardware and software that lasts longer than a single upgrade cycle.